Hello guys, you're welcome to this section of mathematics. I just wanted to take you through some logical reasoning, so take your time and listen to the video, watch, and then you can go back when you don't get something. If you have a question, you can ask on the platform, and then I'll respond to you. So let's get going with, we are going to look at logical reasoning. So what is logical reasoning? Logical reasoning, as the definition gives here, is a type of problem solving that involves working through a set of rules called algorithms. Scenario. It consists of questions that require a logical level of thinking. You don't just see that particular statement and you just draw conclusion as to whether it's correct or it's not correct. So you have to think logically on a given statement to be able to arrive at a conclusion as to whether the conclusion is correct or it is not correct, or the statement is correct or is not correct. So this is what we are going to be doing for this particular topic. And our focus is going to be on statement, to determine whether the statements are true based on a certain concept or based on a certain context. So we are going to determine whether a statement is true or false based on a certain context. It doesn't mean that right now if you know a certain statement, for example, I say that Amma is a boy, and you know that Amma is not a boy, you just conclude that Amma is not a boy. You have to follow the rules and consider that context to determine whether it is actually valid or it is not valid, or true or is not true. So we are going to be looking at statement next. So you can stay tuned for statement. Now, statement. What is actually a statement? A statement is a sentence which is either true or false. It cannot be true at the same time false at the same false. So a statement is any sentence you construct which can be true or it can be false. For example, I can give you a statement like Kofi is a boy. That is a solid statement. And this one is a sentence. It can be true or it can be false. It can be true that Kosi is a boy, and it can be false that Kosi is a boy. So, depending on the context that we find ourselves over there. So, let's consider the following sentences and see which ones are statements and which ones are not. So, please sit down. Please sit down. This is the first sentence that we have. We want to determine whether it's a statement or it's not. Then we have, how old are you? Is this a statement or is not? We'll look at that. Another statement is, Mr. Ose is a hard-working teacher. That's another sentence. Then we have, Kumasi is the capital town of Ghana. That's another sentence we'll be considering. Then a triangle has four sides. We'll consider that statement that sentence as well to see whether it's a statement or it's not. Then the baby is either a boy or a girl. We'll look at whether this is a statement or it's not. So let's move on to look at them. You realize that the sentence one says, please sit down. Please sit down. You can determine whether it's true or it's not true. It is just a command, please sit down, or it's just an appeal, please sit down. So, do you determine please sit down as true or false? So, sentence 1 is not a statement. The sentence 2 as well is also not a statement because it's just a question that they are asking. So, a question that demands an answer. You understand? So that cannot be a statement. Remember, we say a statement is a sentence which can either be true or false. So So when you make the sentence, the statement, the sentence that you have given should either be something which is true or something which is false. So if it's a question, you can determine how true a question is and how false a question is. The next one is sentence 3, 4, and 5 are solid statements because they can either be true or be false. Feel free, if you are not getting the sentence, you can rewind the video, go back and then look at the sentences that we are talking about, and then you will be able to get it well. So depending on the context, sentence 3, which says that who is a hard-working man, it can either be true or false. You see that? Yes, it can be true that he's hardworking, and it can be false that what they have said is not true about him. So that makes it a statement. So something which can be true or false, but they can't all be at the same time. So 4 and 5 too are also statements. Alright, so we want to look at some exercises here. You want to, which of the following sentences are statements? If they are, state whether they are true or false. These ones are logically. Ghana is in Africa. Ghana is in Africa. I'll give you the answer to this, then you can do the rest. Ghana is in Africa can be true and it can be false. You understand? So it can be true and it can be false. But it cannot be true and false at the same time, because Ghana cannot be in Africa and not in Africa at the same time. So Ghana is in Africa is a statement, because that's what the person said, that Ghana is in Africa. It can either be true or it can be false. You understand? Now, so Ghana is in Africa is a statement. That's the first part. Now that is a statement, is it true or is false? You and I know that we are in Ghana and Ghana is part of Africa, so that is a true statement. You understand? So you can now consider the rest, and then you can give your answers in the group so that we will look at how to discuss them out. All prime numbers are odd. Let's see whether this is a statement. Will you go to school tomorrow? So consider that one too, and we see. The next one is 5 is equals to 3 mod 3. Is this a statement? Then when it's a statement, is it true or is false? 3 is an even number. 10 is a multiple of 5. Do you do your math exercise? Sin 30 degrees equals to cos 60 degrees. 22 is a composite number. So you determine whether these are statements or they are not. And those that are statements, you tell us whether they are true statements or they are false statements. Alright, so we move on to another aspect of statement, which is talking about notation of statement. How do we represent statement? Sorry. How do we represent statement in mathematics and logical reasoning as a matter of fact? Alright, we said that in mathematics, statements are denoted by numbers. Example, by letters. Yes, so you see P, then you see a column. That is how we represent statement. So you now put the statement, Kumasi is in Dubai. That is a statement. Please don't judge whether it's true or it's false right now. We are not determining the validity of the statement right now. So it's a statement that Kumasi is in Dubai. It can either be true or it can either be false. So that makes it a statement. So it's represented by something like P. We have another one, Q, with a column. So you use the letter with a column. All students like Gary. This is also a statement because it can either be true or it can be false. Then we have R, another particular column. So you see how the statements are represented. They are represented by letters followed by a column. Some students who like Gary like beans. That's also a statement. It can be true, it can be false. Alright, so since we know how statements are noted or denoted, we want to look at what we refer to as negation. Negation is talking about giving the negative or the opposite of the given statement. So we look at this. The negation of a statement means writing the opposite statement. This is done by adding the word not to the statement. So when you add a word not to the statement, it means you have written the negation of that particular statement. Consider P as a statement. The negation of P is denoted by, you have that sign there, and then that sign over here, you can see the cursor there with P. So when you see that particular sign, which is called a tilde, you have your P there. It means that this tilde P is a negation of this particular statement P. So this sign, this symbol P, is a negation of the statement P. So if we have a statement P, it says that Kumasi is in Dubai, what will be the negation? The negation is going to be tilde P column. You see it. Kumasi is not. You see that we have just added not in Dubai. So that is a negation of the statement. So when we talk of negation, you just need to add not to the statement, then you get the negation of the statement. Another example is that Kofi is a boy. So the negation of the statement will be Kofi is not a boy. Get me? Alright. So sorry. So we can look at some examples over here where we have write down the negation of the statements. So I have one here. P is such that 5 belongs to all prime numbers. This sign is belongs to or is a member of. So this is a statement that 5 is a member of all prime numbers. Or 5 is a member of prime numbers. Or 5 is a prime number. You understand? That's a statement which can be true and it can be false. Now we want to write the negation, which is the answer over here. So the negation we have to P is 2. 5 is not. So you see that when we write this symbol, a member of, and cross it, then it means that it is not a prime number. You get it? So that's the negative of this particular statement. That is the negative of the statement. Alright, we'll look at another example here. P says that X is less than 2. So the negation of the statement P is such that X is not less than 2. So you see that the less than sign, we cross it to show that it's not less than 2. Alright, so we'll go to the next one, which says that KO is such that 7 is not an even number. 7 is not members of, or is not an even number. So if you are given a statement 7 is not an even number, and you want the negation of the statement, the negative, the opposite of it is going to be 7 is a member of even numbers. So that's how we write the negation. You see it? That's how we write the negation of a given statement. So you can now try this exercise and share your answers on the platform, so that if there are any concerns, we can look at them as well. So we have number 1, P said that 3 belongs to prime numbers. Number 2, P said that 5 is less than 3. P said that 4 equal to 2. Q said that 4 belongs to factors of 10. Q said that X greater than 3. And then Q said that negative 4 less than or equal to X less than equal to 5. So you can write down the negation of these statements and share them with us on the platform. Alright, so where we have gotten to, we want to look at statements and then Venn diagrams. From set, we looked at Venn diagrams, and I'm sure you have idea about how Venn diagrams are to be, how we go about Venn diagrams. So we want to look at statements too can also be represented on Venn diagrams. So similar to set, statement can be represented in a Venn diagram. So to do this, you only need to identify the following from the statement. First, you have to identify the universal set. So when we are talking about a good boy, then the universal set consists of all boys. When we talk about general as 2A of within senior high school, then the universal set becomes all students because you are a student. Talk about some students like football, then the universal set becomes all students because we are talking about students, and some students are part of all students. You understand? So you have to be able to identify the universal set from the statements that are given. Then you have to also be able to identify the subsets, what are inside. We'll look at examples of that kind. To be able to also identify the complement, what is in the universal set, what is in the universal set, but not in the set under consideration. So when we are talking about good boys, it means that all boys becomes the universal set. You see it? Then we'll have good boys now become a subset of the universal set, and then bad boys becomes the complement because they are not in the good boys circle, but they will also still be among the boys. So that becomes a complement. So you take note of that as we look. We'll be looking at a lot over there. So we'll look at some examples under this. Represent each of the following statements on a Venn diagram. One of them is P said that Kofi is a good boy. So we'll have to identify the universal sets here. We have to identify the subsets here. We have to identify a complement, if any. The next statement is Q said that 4 is a factor of 400, but 3 is not. 4 is a factor of 400, but 3 is not. So let's look at a solution over here. So you see that our universal set will be all boys, because we say Kofi is a good boy. Are you seeing it? So all boys represent our universal set, because we are talking about boys here. You see it? So if all boys represent our universal set, then good boys are going to be inside the universal set, so that becomes our subset. You see it? So we have all boys, then we have good boys. You see there? So you realize that we have our universal set becomes this with universal set. That's all boys. Then our good boys then come inside here because good boys are among boys. Are you seeing it? They are members of all the boys we are talking about. So we have good boys inside the boys. So when that happens, you have your circle here representing good boys. Then since Kofi is a good boy, then Kofi is supposed to be found among the good boys. So you see Kofi being inside here represented by an AK. So this is how we represent the statement. So we have all boys, then we have good boys in the boys, then Kofi is in the good boys. Do you get it? I'm sure that is fun. Yeah. So we look at the next one, which says that 4 is a factor of 100. Oh, wow, it was supposed to be 100. I think I made it 400. That was a mistake. You need to just check it up and correct it. Alright, so what will represent our universal set? So our universal set can be integers, all integers, because here we are talking about integers. Or you can just talk about all numbers as a universal set. But we are limiting ourselves to integers because we realize that the numbers that are given are all integers, positive integers as such. So So we have our universal set as integers. Then we have the factors of 100 are part of the integers, because when you list all the factors of 100, they are all integers. So you have A representing the factors of 100. Are you seeing it? Then don't worry about this coffee. I think it's a little mistake over there that we have. Then we said that 4 belongs to factors of 100. You see that? That represents our K rather. So we have 4 belongs to factors of numbers, factors of 100. Then we say that 3 is not a member, 3 is not a factor of 100. It means that when we now get the factors of 100, 3 is supposed to be out. So that's why we have it as a complement. Now look at what happens. Our universal set will come here. We have the U here. Then we'll have our set of factors of 100 inside all the integers, because all the factors of 100 are integers. Then you realize that 4 will be inside the factors of 100, because we say 4 belongs to, or 4 is a member of the factors of 100. You see it? Then you realize that our 3 will have to be found outside here, because we say but 3 is not a factor of 100. So you see that the 3 will be a complement. It cannot be in the circle of the factors of 100. You see? Yes. You still have some exercise here to do. We have represent each of the following statements on a Venn diagram. We have P, a square is a quadrilateral. You do that and then post your answers, and then we'll see. Then we have Q, rich people are hardworking people. That's also a statement which can be true or it can be false. Remember the definition of a statement. Then we have every science student studies mathematics but not history. So you should be able to represent that as well. As all my friends are intelligent people, so we have that also as well. Then we have the last one, T, which is every multiple of 10 is a multiple of 5. So we'll look at that as well. Then our next one is going to be compound statements. So I'm just putting that so that you start learning and doing something about it. So that when we are done, we will finally, next time I'll give you a video on this one as well. Thank you for watching, and I wish you a happy stay at home, and don't over